I'm qualified to talk about this because it's my last year of law school and I'm about to graduate. There are a lot of things that you learn while in law school, but here are some life lessons that I'm gonna tell you about because I think everyone should know. And if you're watching this, I assume you're thinking about law school, you're graduated law school, you're graduating law school, you're in law school, or you're just curious. So welcome, my name is Khalila. Thank you for watching my video. I'm in my 3rd year of law school and I am about to graduate soon. We already have our graduation date, so it's really coming. And I am a KJD. A KJD just means that I went straight from kindergarten all the way through to law school, so I'm pretty young, but I did almost a gap year between undergrad and law school because I graduated early from undergrad, so I had from January until August to kind of work full time, and I feel like I have learned a lot from that point in time and being in law school, so I'm just going to share that with you. So some of the first lessons I've learned have been networking. I've kind of already known this, and if you're in law school or you're going to law school, you probably know this. People say it all the time, but it really does matter. Who you know is so important, especially because the law profession is very tiny. There aren't a lot of lawyers. Depending on where you are, I'm in New York, so there's a lot, but even in New York, even with the volume of attorneys that are in New York City, it's still like so tiny. Who you meet, or whoever you meet, will know someone that you know. They'll know you. Like, it's just so important to make sure you get your name out there, make sure you get your face out there, make sure you leave a good impression, because you never know who you need to know, who you meet. You'll never know their background until you talk to them, and networking is such an important way to become enmeshed in your community and have something before you need something. You know the saying where it's like, stay prepared so you don't have to be prepared? It's that, but networking. You never know who can help you, especially as a 3L if you don't have a job. There are a lot of 3Ls that aren't graduating with a job or find their job later than other 3Ls. That's me, for example. I don't have a job, or I'm not graduating with a job right now. I'm not worried. I know, like, people will find their job from like November all the way through up to April before graduation, or even some find them after the bar, which is fine. That if I don't find a job until after the bar, that will leave me a little bit more stressed than typical, but I'm still not worried. I think I have a great network of people. I'm really happy and focused on getting my name and face out there, and I think I leave a good impression, which will lead me to my next point, that your reputation is everything. You need to have a good reputation regardless of if you're in law school or not, or on this journey or not. Your reputation precedes you. Like, you need to be that person who's reliable, who's confident, who leaves a job where people are talking only good things about you. Your reputation is so important because, like I said, the legal profession is very small. Even when it's huge, it's small. Someone who knows you knows someone else, and if they ask about you, or you don't want them to be like, oh, well, Khalila came in to work, she did her job, but that's the best I can say about her. I don't want that. I want to have a good reputation as someone who's reliable, someone who's confident, who's fun to be around, who's a great coworker, who's always there to help, who has good integrity, yada yada yada. Your reputation is so important, even in things that are not career related. For example, your rental reputation is important. Whenever you go to rent an apartment, they're going to ask for letters from your past landlords. They're going to look at your credit history. They're going to look at eviction history. all that is a part of your rental history and your rental reputation. If you're not good with your money, if you're not good with paying rent on time, it's not going to look good on you, and it's going to follow you. Whether you believe in the system or not, whether you believe in that system or not, it's going to follow you, because your reputation is important about your character. And if you're in law school, then you probably know that there is something called the character and fitness, which is a deep dive background check basically into your history and into your moral character. And that is your reputation. They'll ask people about you, they'll ask your past bosses about you. You need to be really sure and confident about the person that you present yourself as and the person that you are. And you need to make sure that your reputation, that you protect your reputation with the best of your ability, because one, you hardly ever get a second chance for first impressions, and two, the stink of a bad reputation will follow you everywhere. The next lesson that I've learned is to be in the room. So I've talked about this a little bit on my TikTok if you follow me, but if you don't, just know that being in the room is 75% of it, okay? Because if you're not in the room to hear or to learn about new opportunities, you probably won't know that they exist. And it's super important for you to be there, because you never know what you'll learn or what you'll come across. And especially as a young attorney, and I don't mean young in age, I mean a baby lawyer. Like, you just, regardless of where you are in life, you just took the bar, you're new to the profession or something, you need to be in all the rooms that you can get access to and all the rooms that you think will be beneficial for your career, because you'll meet someone that you never know. Like, even though LinkedIn is very helpful for lawyers, there are a bunch of lawyers who are on LinkedIn, okay? They don't use it, they're old school. But they're at those events, they're at those CLE events, they're at those networking events, you know, and they'll have a job, or they'll know someone, or all this kind of stuff that you never would have thought about if you weren't in that room, or you never would have found online if you weren't in that room. So just make sure that you're showing up within your bounds. You know, you're not wasting time or losing studying time trying to chase connections when you need to be focused on your grades and stuff. But if you can, make sure that you're in the room where it happens. I know we've all seen Hamilton, and as Aaron Burr puts it, he wants to be in the room where it happens. In the room where it happens, you'll never know that's where it happens until you're in that room. And it sounds circular, kind of is, but everything that I've been talking about connects, okay? Because networking, you gotta be in the room. Being in the room will help you when you have a good reputation, and having a good reputation will help you network. And it will expand your network, and it'll expand your reputation, because when you're networking with people and you know someone who knows someone, and then they will be like, oh, I've also met Khalila, and she was so lovely, she was so nice, she was so this, she was so yada yada yada. It's going to help you in the long run. Protect your reputation, network, and be in the room where it happens, because you'll never know what will happen for you. Next, the next lesson I've learned while being in law school is that you can really do and create whatever job that you want. I have listened and learned from so many lawyers, whether it's been my professors, friends of my professors, people at networking events, people I've cold called. I've learned that there's so many non-linear paths to whatever you want, and so many jobs that I never would have thought about, or jobs that these lawyers created for themselves because they saw a need or they saw a gap and they filled it, that you can really do whatever you want. And I know it may sound scary, or it may sound, and it's always helpful to kind of look at someone that you admire or aspire to be like and try and follow their path. But when there's no path to follow, it can get real spooky. So just know that whatever you want to do, there's a way to get there, and it doesn't have to look like anyone else's path, and you can really create whatever you want. If you want to be an IP litigation lawyer who does criminal justice reform on the side, you can do that. You can do whatever you want, you know, as long as it is in line with your state's ethics rules. But you can really do whatever you want. You can create whatever job you want. There are no limits in life unless it's the limits that you put on yourself. You can really do whatever you want. You just have to be confident about it. You have to follow your path, and you have to make sure that you are doing the right thing for you, and you'll get there. Believe in yourself, you'll get there. And I hate to sound so like hippy dippy, but you can really do whatever you want. Like, and you can create whatever job you want. There is something out there for you. And if you feel like it's missing, you can create it. Lawyers are lawyers, but they're also really good entrepreneurs. And the last lesson I'm going to talk about today is having enough courage. So I know there's that stereotype in law school about being gunners and all this stuff, and I have encountered a few gunners in my day, and it can get annoying, but there is something really beneficial about listening to the people that have the courage to ask questions. Because how many times have you been sitting there and you've had a question but you've been too nervous to ask it, and someone else asked it and you're like, oh, well, I'm so glad that other person asked, or something like that. And it really boils down to courage and confidence and all this stuff, because some people have the confidence to speak up in class and others don't. And if you don't, that's okay. But if you don't have the wherewithal to listen to those people who have the courage, because sometimes, yeah, their questions may go off on tangents, but also sometimes their questions are very helpful. It'll allow the professor to explain things in ways that you might not have thought of, or explain things in a better way that helps you understand something that you weren't understanding in the first place. So making sure that you're listening to people who speak up is really important. And it's just not for law school classes, it's for life in general. Listen to the people who have the courage to speak up. Really try to understand them, and hopefully one day you'll be that person that speaks up, and you'll be that person that is being listened to because you have the courage to speak up, and other people will understand things because you were the one to ask the question. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope that you've learned a lot and you really take these lessons in and understand them. And if you're in law school, all the best of luck to you.